Okay, hello and welcome to the Tuesday Night Live. So today, kind of a little on the fly here. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me because as you can tell, I finally got a nice mic. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully it works. Also, why I didn't really promote the live tonight, it looks like my camera's crooked, is because I am actually testing out StreamYard for the first time. And I have learned my lesson with testing out new things on live, is that people get super angry. It's ridiculous to me. Last time Hey, everybody. Last time I tried, the metaverse on live, it did not go as planned, and then, I mean, people in the comments were so annoyed that, like, "Oh my god, there was a YouTube video that was not as entertaining as they had hoped." Um, so this is my first time trying StreamYard. Let me try this. Oh, hello. Natasha on the screen. Oh, there we go. Oh, thank you. Just trying out some of these features. How do I take it away? Okay, cool. Okay, so everybody, I just wanted to chat a little bit and talk about this weekend. So, thank you. I see some familiar faces from this weekend. I know Natasha and Alondra were there, and maybe some of you others were at the event. So, we had the Illuminate this weekend, which was so amazing. So for anyone who didn't see, hold on, I'm gonna put this is not an ad. I'm gonna put this piece of neuro gum. It's like supposed to be like brain boosting gum underneath my tripod for my camera to try to make it even because I didn't. Hold on. You know, we're getting more professional around here. However, that's much better with the gum under there, right? It's perfectly straight now. Oh, it's Whitney also from the event. Thank you, Whitney, for being there this weekend. You had so many cool things to share. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the weekend. There was a couple of clips on my YouTube. And also, you guys, I don't know what happened to me at 4 o'clock today, 2 hours ago. I randomly fell asleep. So I barely made it just now. Okay, so what a fun weekend. We had 8 lectures. I curated and hosted the weekend. And basically, as you guys know, I've been going to a bunch of different conferences, Conscious Life Expo, Contact in the Desert. I spoke at Disclosure Fest. As you know, I'm speaking at Disclosure Fest again in June. But you see, remember when I won an award, this is like 35 pounds. I won an award, JK Ultra. It says Stairway to the Stars on the bottom. So, Disclosure Fest is happening again, Stairway to the Stars. It's going to be June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. My lecture is on the 21st, and I'm going to be talking about the awakening of AI. You think Haley's going to be there this year? You know, she may be coming. I spoke to her about Contact in the Desert. She may be coming, but also she may not. So we'll see. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Thank you. How do you say your name? Oyen? Oyen? Is that how you say it? Thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, I can put it on the screen. Wow, look at that, guys. I've really upgraded, haven't I? I get to put it on the screen now when there's a super chat. Cool. Thank you. So yeah, that's why I just like I'm kind of winging it today because I didn't want to have technical issues. and have a whole big plan for things. So let's talk about the weekend. It was so amazing. So our first speaker was Ian from Cancel This Clothing Company, and you might recognize him because he has gone viral, insanely viral over the last year. And he's known for he would go into a supermarket or a Target or something and take a picture of, say, the shampoo aisle, and then go through all the items and see who owns it, who funds it, who owns the stocks, who owns the shares. Then he would do, like, the bread aisle. I think he did, like, feminine hygiene products once too, which was really cool, and that's how he got viral, and then it started to become, "Oh, okay, why does BlackRock own everything?" And then he's gone deeper and deeper into that, and that was super cool to have a, deep dive with Ian because, as we know, Ian's an awesome researcher, and what he spoke about was discernment. And that was really cool because, he's kind of known more for the conspiracy side of it, and people don't typically think that, you know, conspiracy theorists have discernment, or at least they try to portray it that way because we know actually we do. You see all this information that's coming out about the vaccine now. And of course, no hate to anyone who got it. I really don't like when people act like everybody who got the vaccine is like, one way, or everybody who didn't get it is one way. But to say conspiracy theorists don't have discernment, and now so many of the things that were said could potentially happen. All of these people who said, "This is my fear around taking this vaccine. This is what I think might happen. This is what I think could be a risk." A lot of those things are starting to come out. Like literally, like a day ago, we got more confirmation. The AstraZeneca, I believe it's pronounced, which is the European vaccine. Here we had like Moderna, Pfizer. I'm saying all the buzzwords today. Get the channel demonetized once I get a nice mic and some little nice setup here. That's the way to go. So then, but the AstraZeneca one, which was in Europe, is getting pulled right now because apparently it's confirmed that it was all, well, not all, but that there was very rare side effects that are now proven that were not as proven then. So now it's getting pulled. So, why I thought Ian's lecture was so cool on discernment was he talked about how to research. Instead of telling you what to believe, he told you how to research, which is super cool because then you basically, one of the things that I really loved from his lecture was about the different types of sourcing and how you pretty much, anytime you come across something on the internet, the best thing that you can do in that moment is do a little bit of your own fact checking on it. And it doesn't need to be like necessarily the fact checking, but let's say there's a quote about someone. Like let's say, oh my God, I'm picking such controversial examples today. So Donald Trump. Um, there was a couple weeks ago, okay, so he's in trial right now for the Stormy Daniels hush money case in New York. So because he couldn't get out of the trial for one day to go to his son Barron, the youngest one, to go to his son's graduation, I guess maybe from high school. I don't know. I didn't really look super into it. But his youngest son, I think, is graduating from high school and maybe college, who knows. And he did not was not allowed to leave court that day to go attend the graduation. And then there was like some media outlets that reported that Trump did not go to any of his children's graduations, which I thought was just weird. When I saw it reported, I was kind of like, how would they know? Like his older sons are, I don't know, mid-40s, or I don't know how old his sons are, but it's not like, how would they know? There's no record. Like, does anyone know who went to my graduation? Does anyone know who went to your graduation? Like, I just thought it was kind of weird that people said that he never went to any of his kids' graduations. I was like, how could they know that information? Um, but also, like, not super invested in it because, you know, I don't really care that much. I just thought it was weird. And then a couple days later, it turns out that that was obviously not true, and then you guys know I'm friends with House and Habit, Jessica Reed Kraus, the independent journalist, and she asked Donald Trump Jr. specifically about the graduation thing. And he said that his dad went to all the graduations and that his dad was at his dad was at the brother and the sister and the other sister. And basically that it was just kind of like weird to say because and then I guess like they found like a picture of him at one of the graduations. And not that this is anything about Trump. It's just going to show that like say when something like that comes up in the news, what Ian was talking about, and that was not the example that he gave. I don't know why I'm picking really unhinged examples, maybe because it's I just woke up from a nap. But he was talking about how after something like that, the best thing to do is to go find as close to this person saying it as you can. So going as close to the primary source as close to you can get it. So if someone says that so and so said this in an interview, the best thing to do is to go to that interview, look at it yourself, and judge for yourself. And this is like, kind of the basics of it, but it was nice the way that he went layers deeper of different types of research, different places to look, different places to find things. So it was a great way for him to open up the lecture because basically with Illuminate, a lot of the themes were spiritual. So I decided that we should start with Ian because he would be like a good like introduction for like this world, truth seeking in this world. And then we were going to go deeper and deeper. So then our second speaker was Marco J. Williams, as you guys know. Now, Marco is awesome. I just love him. He has such a healing, sweet energy and an electric smile. So Marco did a lecture about shadow work, which was really good because what was so cool, and I know some of you guys were there, the way that everything flowed into each other. I wonder, is this streaming on Instagram? If anyone's watching on Instagram, let me know in the comments because I'm only seeing comments from um, YouTube. Oh, you're late today. Don't worry. We're doing something very chill. Ooh, I'm so excited. I can put the questions on the screen now. Is the replay still available for purchase? I really wanted to attend virtually, but had prior plans. Yes, Shannon, it is. So if you go, I should have linked it here in this one, but I will link. It's linked in the previous videos because we streamed like 5 minutes from each person's lecture. So for $29, you can buy all 8 lectures, and the replays are awesome. They're just as potent as being there live. So Marco did the really like the fundamentals of shadow work, the basics of shadow work, like really changed the vibe and had people come on camera and share, what their triggers are. What are the things that come up for them? What are the things they want to work on? What are the things they want to balance on? So it was a nice introduction to shadow work. Then we had Indigo Bruno come on, and Bruno, he's only 22 years old, and Bruno has such an ability. Oh, thanks, Natasha. Don't forget to like the live. Where's my phone? Let me see if I'm live on Instagram right now. I feel like it's not working. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like it's not working. No, it's not working. And you know what? I paid like $300 to upgrade my thing so that it would work. This is so weird. How do I do it? All right. Well, that's that. Who knows? It says here that it's live to Instagram, but whose Instagram? Interesting. Once you're live and your stream is public, you'll find it at the top of your Instagram feed. I'm not live over there. I don't know why. That's dumb. Really weird. Okay, anyway, we'll just have to accept that that's what it is. Um, but that was also why I wanted to test this out today. So Bruno gave a really cool lecture about the mind. So the mind is was really cool because basically, we were talking about consciousness, shadow work, the soul, and like all of these different things. So it was nice. I know, not a Tuesday Night Live without tech glitches. I know. I'm like, this is actually pretty smooth considering first time using the mic, first time using the new software. Um, there is some different things I can do here. Let me see. No, I don't know. It's not working. So Bruno talked about the mind, and that was awesome. And basically, he talked a lot about the types of thoughts and what is considered the mind. And it was very philosophical. And then we closed out day one with Brittany Bento. How long will it be available for purchase? The replays are available for a year. So the links will be up for a year. So anytime within a year from now. So, but then I don't think that they'll be available for a year from the playing. So if you get it in 3 months, then you will have it a little shorter than a year. But, honestly, it's nice to watch them all kind of, pretty close to each other because they're all the lectures were, like, perfectly intertwined. So, it couldn't have been more divine to have all of these lectures perfectly intertwined. So, we had Marco talking about the beginning of shadow work. The next level was about the mind. Then Brittany came in and Brittany delivered. I mean, I was blown away by Brittany's lecture. And it was so Brittany Bento, if you don't follow her, you got to go check her out. She does amazing readings on Instagram and TikTok, but also her YouTube is really awesome because she is really good at long form videos, and she's really good at just being honest and authentic. And as I watched Brittany's lecture, it was very different. Everyone else kind of was like sitting there, at a desk, and Brittany was sitting on the floor and like just being herself. And she also talked about shadow work and the ego, but she went there. Like Brittany is not afraid to go there. And my shadow work journey that I have been sharing with you guys. Oh, hey, Haley. My shadow work journey that I've been sharing with you guys was inspired by Brittany's video about demonic possession. And she talked about her experience with demonic possession. And then that, as you guys know, you read about it on my Substack. But that was a catalyst for me because watching her video, I initially, when I watched it, I was like, oh, wow, that's so brave of her. She was telling people that she was possessed by a demon. Um, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. But as it sat with me for a couple weeks, I realized, that I was having the same issue. And what was talked about in her video and then also in my Substack, which if you didn't see both of those, I'll clarify. What I mean by possessed by a demon is actually like a soul fractal. So it's actually like a part of yourself that is wounded, that needs love, that is broken off from you. So it's actually was almost like a wounded part of my inner child that has been with me my whole life because it is me, but that was harboring these different self-worth issues. So Brittany's video provoked that wild spiral, which now I finally feel that I've emerged from and I finally feel on the other side of. And Brittany went hard talking about shadow work because one of the examples that she gave was talking about, like, say, like these crazy Karen people. I don't really like the word Karen, but I'm just using that because that's what people know what we're talking about, right? And then someone like that who say in a Starbucks and they get a wrong order and they start losing their shit, yelling, saying crazy stuff, acting like a temper tantrum. Brittany talked about how these people, this is shadow work. When someone acts like that, that's when their ego has, lost its way. But even our judgment of that person is our own shadow work. So when we see that person screaming because their Starbucks order wasn't correct, w- when we're judging them, that's also a reflection of us because in reality, what she was talking about was that person is wounded. That person is almost a wounded child, and they're acting as a wounded child. And what's wrong with that person is that most likely they didn't get attention or they weren't heard when they were children. And now they feel that they need to go into all of these situations with that same wound of not being heard and then continuously feeling not heard and then exploding because of it. And it's like they're spiraling in their wound. And us not being able to have compassion or understanding for that is our own shadow saying, knock, knock, knock. I need attention. Your judgment towards this person's wounds is a reflection of a judgment towards your own wounds. Whitney said, I had a major breakthrough today, but I've had so much sleep since Illuminate. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's probably why I just passed out right now. I passed out. That's why I'm like, I have kind of like a sleepy child face right now. Like, when like a kid wakes up from a nap. I didn't have any time to put on any makeup or anything. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I think the same thing. Um, The way Brittany talks about the ego has really helped me view the ego in new ways. She seems so connected in her videos. Oh yeah. I love it, Brie, because you know what? She really goes there. And I, after the lecture, after the whole 2 days, I said, you know what? We all have something to learn from Brittany because Brittany is not afraid to be vulnerable. Brittany is not afraid to come off any type of way. Like all of us, it's natural. Every person wants to be, um, taken seriously and all of these things. And, like Brittany almost like pushes us to like have the bravery to just be, you know? Oh, right, Haley. Yes. So many broken people remind me of children that never had the space at home to express. Even in good homes, sometimes they still encourage their children not to cry. Exactly. And I think, too, as we do more healing, we realize that, like, it's okay if other people aren't healed. When we're earlier in our healing journey, or even before our healing journeys, when we're still in survival, we're still just getting by. We do want to judge people who are not where we are yet. You know, we do want to judge those people who are not there yet. We're going to be like, oh, they won't do the work. And then you do some work. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, that person's just not there yet. And then you do more work. And then you're like, oh, they're exactly where they need to be and that they're wounded. Someone had a question. Oh, that was a question for Haley. I'm not presenting at Contact in the Desert. I'm going to be presenting at Disclosure Fest. But there is a chance I might still pop into, Disclosure Fest. I mean, to Contact in the Desert. Okay, so that was the end of day 1, and then we did a VIP chat. And in the VIP chat, we had Brittany and Ian there, and they were answering questions, and it was so cool to finally get to know a little bit more about Ian because, we don't know. He posts about his, much like, when I first started posting, I hadn't shared much about me in the beginning either. So, I just didn't know anything about Ian. And it was cool. Can't post comments to some destinations. Oh, I don't know what that means. Conferences galore. I know. It's crazy. Me too. Um, Also, I'm gonna have to start promoting the cruise. So any of you guys were thinking about doing the cruise, that would be cool. Yeah, it was cool to learn more about Ian, and then Brittany had amazing answers. So then day 2 of Illuminate, we had Nick Zai, and Nick also talked about, he talked about the game of life, but that also came back to the shadow work. It came back to the ego. It came back to the mind, which was everything that we went over in the first day. And then, after that, we had my friend Chelsea's class, Chelsea Maker, and that was wow, right? Wasn't that? So many people. So, that was a shamanic journeying, and it was also to create a space in the astral. So, this is a she's been doing shamanic work for over a decade. And this is taking some of the shamanic principles into ways that are accessible for everyone, even if you're not a shaman. And not all of the principles, not all of the things or all the places to go, but really just like some of the fundamental safeguards that are in shamanism. And when you're working with in shamanism, like Chelsea does, it is working in the non-physical realm, working in the astral realm. So she has been retitling it astral work, similar to breath work or any other type of work, because This astral work, we're all starting to do it. Even if you're like before, it was for meditators and shamans and alchemists and wizards and magic and all of this stuff. But now the average person is doing astral work in meditation, in visualization, in these things. So we do need those extra safeguards. So her class was amazing. And it was so cool with the feedback, how many people said that they're not typically able to visualize, but that they were able to visualize in her class and that they were able to go through the journey. And then even some people like Natasha and one of the other people who attended didn't have the time to be able to close their eyes at that moment. So they just listened with their eyes open, and even eyes open were able to see. So it really just goes to show how important it is to be in the right setting, in the right place. I also feel that the 2 days of lectures leading up to that showed everyone, like, this is what your mind is capable of. So, basically, then we went to Evan, and Evan Nathaniel Grimm, he's an amazing astrologer, he's a good friend of mine, and he did a great lecture about how a birth chart in astrology is more than just a personality reading. What it really is an event chart for your parents coming together and having a baby. So then when you see that this is an event chart as opposed to in a personality reading, and you look at it with that perspective, then you can see that all of these different aspects in the chart is not just about personality stuff. It's about, oh, this is your purpose, or oh, this is your life path. This is what your parents were dealing with. This was the stuff that was going on during the conception. This is the stuff. So it gave a different perspective on our own story from birth, our own birth chart. And then we closed it out with my sister, Jess, the self-care librarian. She is an awesome Reiki healer. I know that a lot of people learned about Reiki, some things that they didn't know. And I love that she went into depth about it, because a lot of people think that Reiki is kind of just this umbrella of energy work. And it's very specific. And It's very specific, and, it can be used in a lot of different ways. So my sister talked a lot about how healing energy and energy work can be used for medical healing, but more so you might want to use it in these other ways. So she gave the example that a lot of times the way she works with her Reiki clients is, if one of them is dealing with a medical issue, instead of trying to heal that medical issue with just energy work, which, yes, will she'll send the energy and send it with the intention to help that. But she also, since my sister, has had a lot of medical things over the years, which a lot of it was leading her to do energy work. A lot of times that's what happens with your calling. Sometimes people will have a lot of medical issues because they themselves need to become a healer. A lot of times people will have a lot of near death experiences because they themselves are some type of person who is meant to help other people. So a lot of times when you're not in your path or whatever, things will happen in your life to trigger you onto different timelines. So after my sister started doing Reiki, a lot of the medical stuff completely shifted. So for her, she talked about how using Reiki sometimes with medical things can be interesting, because what you can do is like, oh, okay, if someone has cancer, you're probably not going to be able to cure the cancer with the Reiki. So why don't you put the Reiki towards finding the right doctor, towards finding the right medication, to the right benefit from that medication, to lessen the side effects that could be negative, to get the right dosage, to have the right facility at the right time. So these are other ways that we can use, which she gives a lot of unique things like that, because she did deal with medical stuff. So she has a lot of other ways to do it. And she also talked about how getting attuned in Reiki sometimes is not for you to do sessions on other people. Sometimes it's meant for you in your own life and your own journey. So maybe like someone who has a lot of medical stuff going on and had a lot of issues with doctors, they might want to get attuned in Reiki to assist with that process, is to assist that they're gonna continue to have the right doctors, to assist when they're gonna have, um, going on a different medication, that it's gonna acclimate to their body well. So, you know, because my sister is also in the corporate world, which is her full-time job, she says basically that she feels that, she's a good balance of both worlds, is that sometimes you need to be practical, and sometimes people need Western medicine, and sometimes they need Eastern energy work, and that balance can actually work together. Yes, that was mind blown moment for me. I've been testing out my own random intentional energy healing on hubby for his back, and notice after I work on him, my body feels better and in less pain. Oh, cool. Oh, your sister had such a gorgeous universal mother energy. I woke up this morning and my husband's artwork for US Games first Reiki deck just dropped. Oh, cool. Cool, the Reiki deck. So that was amazing. A weekend, giving you guys a little update on that. Let's talk about some other updates. For one, Haley gave me this cup. However, I threw away the lid and I ordered new lids because it had mold. And what do you guys do? It had mold. I cleaned it. It got mold again. 3 types of mold in there, and I drank it. It was green, it was white, and it was black. It was all 3 types of mold in there. So, I still really like the cup. So, I ordered other lids. Um, but whoa, like, what is that? Like, so with the water bottles, we just end up, like, getting moldy? We save the earth, but drink mold? What the hell? But I really like that water bottle because I actually, if it's not in a bottle like that, I'm not gonna drink that. No, Haley, don't worry. It's not like you gave it to me with mold. It's because I left water in there with it all closed and moist. Lids are always tricky. I know, but then you need a lid. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of other things. In the meantime, let's pull a card for us from the Nature Nurture deck, Marcella Kroll's new deck. Oh, hey, Carmina. We were just talking about the event. Thank you for, being there, and thank you for sharing too. It was really so amazing, like, especially in the VIP chat because we got to actually hear how, everybody, it was impacted by the weekend, and that was just so amazing, and I got so many nice DMs from people talking about how this is what they needed. Oh, look. Okay, so for us is the fox. Shapeshift the fox. Okay, let's see what that's all about. Number 17. Hiding, camouflage, blending into your surroundings. It is best to lay low and be the observer at this time. You will learn more by stepping back and blending into your surroundings. You are not disappearing, but in fact, you are learning how to connect with all the elements of your environment to better understand how it works. Okay, let's take another one for clarity. What do they mean by you're hiding and that it's kind of like a good thing? It's not a bad hiding. It's a blend in with your surroundings. So, let's see. Okay. Okay. This is why. Frog. Frog is the reason. Detox. Okay. Let's see what that has to say. Detox, emotional release, letting go, cleansing and purging. Time to let go of any toxicity, sadness, or buildup of chemicals, bad vibes, and other people's energy. Your mind, heart, and spirit are due for a good smudging or energetic cleansing. You may need to cry, journal, or talk to someone to release any built up emotions that you have been suppressing or holding back. The frog invites you to honor your tears, take a salt bath, meditate in a body of water, cry, and drink water. Thank these beautiful bodies of water for helping you to actively heal and replenish your spirit. Ooh, that's awesome. So, shape shifting, you're changing, blend into your surroundings if you need to during a detox. Oh my god, you ran over a frog yesterday. Oh, sad. Oh. Um, what else is going on? Oh, okay, so guys, I am officially going to start doing one-on-ones. My one-on-one is up now. So right now, the way that it's working is, I have a little intake form application. It's on my Beacons AI/JK Ultra, and it just has a little button that says one-on-one, and it shares some information. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Is it gonna work? I don't How do I share the screen? Share screen. Okay, let me pull it up first and see if it's gonna work. Um, what is it? Beacons AI. I had to download Google Chrome for this new thing that I'm doing here, for this new software. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why it's okay. Let's see if this is gonna work. Share screen. Let's pop this out. Share screen. Oh, wow. You guys, is it working? Oh my god, it's working. I can't believe it. Okay. So this is my Beacons AI. This is the Illuminate. I'm going to be taking this down, making it smaller, obviously, because the event is not here anymore, but you can still buy replays if you'd like. And then right here is the one-on-one with Jen/JK Ultra. Book your 15-minute consultation to see if my guidance would be a good fit for you. Okay. And then if you click on it, this is what is going on here. So the way that it's going to work, so I am going to, this is separate than the hypnosis. I am going to start very selectively offering the hypnosis. It is time for me. I'm going to talk about that right after this. So this is separate. This is about guidance. And basically, as you guys know, I give very good advice. Not to be crazy, toot my own horn, but I know I give good advice. I know that I'm able to get to the root of things with other people. So here's what I see this happening in these one-on-one things. Some of the stuff that we could talk about, work on spiritual growth, so anything connected to the spiritual growth, the spiritual path, the ascension, this could be about your own trying to understand your own experiences, maybe looking for resources, looking for guidance of what some of these things could mean. We That's a couple of things. And there's a other stuff that we're gonna do with that, but that's kind of like also, what we could work on is a combination of these things. It could be transitional stages of life. So someone that might be having a major life event, a career change, a relationship change, wanting to shift into their purpose in a way, are working on a new project, want something, development for just personal growth in general. And then life purpose and authenticity. So aligning with the core values, overcoming beliefs. So these are kind of like the general areas that I see being good focus for one on one. And sorry, because I'm sharing my screen, I'm not seeing the comments right now, but I'll come right back. Um, how it would work is complete the intake form. So at the bottom here is the application. And then with that, it'll be about yourself, your experience, what you're working on, like what you want to work on. After I review that, if it seems first like a good fit, then we will do a 15-minute free consultation, talk a little bit, see if we have a good match. Because also I don't want people to just be able to book, because if it's not going to be, the right match for my guidance, then I'm going to have to, Tell them that in the first 15 minutes instead of kind of trying to make something work if it doesn't seem like it is the right fit. And then that would be one-on-one after that. And then so some things that are gonna happen in the one-on-ones. So, really, they could be like anything. We could talk things out. We could, get advice, things like that. But it's one of the things that I do wanna do that I have planned if it's working for what that person's goals are, would be to clarify the goals. So we're going to set intentions, get a clear vision. I like to use a couple of methods for that. I like the three most important questions. I did a course called the Life Book, and it was pretty expensive, but it was very like easy, fundamental what it was. So it wouldn't be like me redoing the Life Book, but basically because I took this course to completely define the 12 areas of your life. So they say that your life is broken up into 12 areas. And then what you do is instead of kind of manifesting and envisioning your whole entire life, we go through each section and kind of see what's important in each section. So that's another thing that is helpful. Also, this will be about self discovery. So we could explore things, inquire, reflect. That could be related to shadow work, that could be related to overcoming things. It could be also kind of accepting the path that you're on or kind of balancing where you want to be with where you are now. And then come up with action plans so we can come up with some strategies. And then the other great thing about the one on one is that you have support so that we're able to track your journey. So, say we come up with a 10 daily tasks for you to do. And then you come back the next week and you weren't able to get a lot of the tasks done. So then what we'll do is we'll go over and see which ones you were able to hit, which ones you didn't. And then we'll see. We can take those things off and replace them, or maybe just rework it so that you don't have to do all of those things a day. We'll pick something that works more. So, and then this is what the pricing will be. So, it's 4 sessions. It's a package for a month. So it's 4 sessions of 60 minutes each. And like I said, these are the goals that I have in mind for what to work on, but it's gonna be each individual person. And then that's 4.99. So that's 4 one-hour sessions, or do a 3-month package and it's 12 sessions. And since that's a 90-day thing, we'll have also a 90-day plan. And then it just right here, there's an application form where you give your information. What areas of life are you interested? Are you interested in exploring hypnosis? Now, some of the things that could happen, I'm coming back now. Now, some of the things that could happen are because I know some of the other methods, like I know the Marissa Peer hypnosis and stuff like that. That could be an element if it's something that the person wants to work on. Like if someone wants to work on inner child healing, then I know how to do the inner child hypnosis for uh inner child work or something like that. So for the most part, it's going to be talk. Okay, let's come up with a plan, and then I'll give you this plan to follow to help, either if your goal is more spiritually aligned, then we're going to pick tasks that are more spiritually aligned. If it's more personal development and spiritual, then we'll do a combination. So some of the tasks in your daily plan will be spiritual, and some of those tasks will be personal development. And really, if there's such a crossover, I always think people should be doing both. And then there's also, the alien related stuff too. So, obviously, that's something that's big for me, but I know that a lot of the people that might be interested in doing this, that's also something that is a part of it. They wanna understand that more, they wanna lean into that more, they wanna know about that more, so that's also something that can come up with it, but, with those one-on-ones, my goal is to be more, goal and personal development and spiritual ascension based. And also, sometimes it just helps to be able to bounce those ideas off of someone. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Everybody is so sweet. Do we pick one thing to focus on, or you be touching on all of the things? So it'd really be all of the things. Like if in your intake form you check off that you want some improvement in your career and your spiritual life and this, and then we'll just work through that and see, what comes up. Now, the other question, which is the bigger question, which is not officially up yet, but it is going to be soon. I just am really coming up with the right way to do it. So, as you guys know, I am trained in QHHT level 1, and I that is the Dolores Cannon hypnosis method. I have been asked regularly for the last over 2.5 years if I will do QHHT sessions one on one. A lot of people have told me that they've tried to find a hypnotherapist and either it wasn't the right fit, they didn't have the right results, they couldn't find someone in their area. Now, the thing with QHHT is that Dolores Cannon intended for it to not be done ever online. And that was one thing that was holding me back from doing it, was because I wanted to be true to Dolores's method. However, after sitting with this for the last couple years, and I do the QHHT sessions when I'm uh in my real life with friends and stuff like that, but I never opened it for anyone from the public. And so but I've been asked so many times, so many people are like, "Well, can you just do one on the internet? Can you just do one? Just do mine, please." And so I've been saying no for the last 2 years, but I've had finally enough time to really think and process it. Now, you guys know I did this session with Sarah Brexman Cosme live on Instagram. Now, she did slightly change the hypnosis induction script from the original QHHT one. She made some changes, so it wasn't 100% QHHT. However, we saw that it worked. We saw that it worked live streaming on Instagram with one of the best people in the world. So, although Dolores's wishes were to not have it done digitally, for that reason, I'm not going to be calling it QHHT either, because I'm not going to disrespect QHHT by breaking the rules and still trying to call it that. But that is the only one rule that will be broken. Also, after experiencing it online with Sarah Brexman, it did make me feel more comfortable that, oh, well, of course it works. And the same thing like Reiki and all of these things work distance. It wasn't that it wouldn't work distance. It was, Dolores passed away in 2014. So, what are your thoughts on practitioners that do full QHHT online? Well, technically, they're not allowed to do QHHT online. So, what they're doing is QHHT, but they have to call it something else or call it nothing. So, that's pretty much like the main thing, is that the people that are doing it online, um, they're, I don't think, legally allowed to call it that. Yes, because I totally agree with you, respect the modality. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So when I put it up, it will be hypnosis sessions, but it will be QHHT, and the one difference will be that it's done online. I actually, before I make it official, I'm going to have a conversation with Sarah Brexman and just see if there's anything that I should specifically add to the script to make sure that it works as well online. And I'm so lucky that I have access to the best QHHT practitioners in the world. Also Jerome DeWitt, who did my QHHT session originally in 2021. He is level 3, was trained directly from Dolores in 2006, in I forget what country he's from. He's from the Netherlands, I think, and he did the class with Dolores in the Netherlands, and he's been doing it since then. He's super skilled, and so he is also speaking at Disclosure Fest in June, so make sure you come. His lecture is on Sunday. And it's also like a camping situation because it's a festival. I won't be camping. I'm gonna stay at a hotel, because I'm just not about that life. But if you are a camping person, it is gonna be a really cool festival outside of LA, like 40 minutes out of LA. It's so if you're a camper, Outdoorsy person, it would be fun probably to just pay for the weekend parking pass. So, with those two amazing QHHT practitioners available to me, I'm going to ask them both about that, about what, because they've done thousands and thousands and thousands of sessions. And me, I've done a lot of these online in the group because my Substack every month we've already done 3 of the Dolores Cannon hypnosis group methods online. So, I'm rambling here. But like I said, this was a little bit of a test Tuesday Night Live, and just kind of a recap and kind of what's coming up, what's going on. And so with those hypnosis sessions, the way that it works is we are going to do the same thing that Dolores intended, which was when you do them, you're only allowed to do one in a day and you take as long as it needs. So a session could be 4 hours or it could be 8 hours. It's most likely not going to be less than 4. So, one, the price has to reflect that, realistically, because then for 8 hours, I'm not even, able to do anything else. And you guys know, like, all of the stuff that I do requires a lot of research and time. So, um, the hypnosis, and it's going to be very select because it's very intense. When I do these hypnosis, it feels like, now, so far I've only done them in person. I will be testing online before I go fully live with that. For right now, just the one-on-ones are live, because the other thing I want to do with this QHHT is, I with all of my research into Dolores's work and Dr. Michael Newton and these other hypnosis methods, there's something that I want to add to this method, which is before and after. So I want to come up with the best way to come up with questions. And then I want to come up with the best little aftercare form. And even though the QHHT doesn't really need aftercare and whatever comes out needs to come out, there's a couple of things that I really think would make the QHHT sessions more beneficial to people if they knew the right questions to ask. So I'm going to work on a couple of. Oh my gosh, Natasha, you already are. You don't even need to volunteer. You're already the one that I've chosen. um, so volunteer. But no, Natasha has already been chosen. There is no need to volunteer. This is like what happened with the 3 waves of volunteers before coming to Earth. They're like, I volunteered to go to Earth for the shift. And they're like, no, you don't need to volunteer. You're already chosen. But if it makes you feel better to say you volunteered. So that's the thing with this, is that basically what we're going to be doing is, so I'm going to come up with a little intake form, come up with a good little video of the best questions to ask, how to get the most out of the QHHT, the best ways to prepare, and then a little aftercare form for people to kind of reflect on the recording, because one of the most important things is also listening to the recording after a QHHT session. It reactivates everything. And even when I listen to mine, and I'm sure you guys I might have said this in my original video about it, that when I did the hypnosis, I got all of these answers. When I listened to the hypnosis, like within that week in a meditative state, like I got myself in a really relaxed state and I listened to the hypnosis just laying down, the visuals were so intense and it was like filling in more details than I was able to see in that moment. So the thing with the QHHT, it really is only meant to be done once. Once is usually enough if you are prepared. Now, if you just go into a QHHT session without being fully prepared, then you're leaving thinking about, oh, damn, this is what I want to ask next time. So that's why I want to create a way to come up with the questions. And I'm going to have a list of all the best questions to ask. So after I do the intake part, because the beginning of the QHHT is we talk about the person's entire life story. So, and not just like as if it was a book. The stuff that comes up is what's important. the relationships with people, the traumas, the stuff. We go through all of that, which is so healing on its own. Like before the hypnosis even starts, just getting to tell someone your like life story and have them listen is so healing. If some people after that part are already like, "Oh, well, damn, I feel like I already did it," because we really don't get to just tell someone our life story in that way unless you're like writing a book about it. And even in that case, you don't get to just really do that. So during that time, the person would come to the session with questions prepared, and then we go through their whole life story. That takes 2 hours. That takes sometimes 3 hours. Then after that, we go to the induction, which you can only really be under hypnosis less than 2 hours. Otherwise, your body starts getting uncomfortable. When I went under, I was under for almost 4 hours. Um, but he was checking to see if the body was fine, if it was comfortable. I was fine. But usually Dolores said like pretty much under 2 hours is what the body wants to handle under the hypnosis. So then we go through, most people will experience a past life. Not everybody does. A lot of the people that I've done QHHT on didn't go to a past life. They went to an earlier time of this life. So when I first met Sarah Brexman Cosme, I asked her that. I was like, I would say out of like most of the people I've done QHHT on, probably 70% of them went to this lifetime at an earlier age. And I was like, is that normal? Is there like, am I doing something wrong that people aren't having past lives? And she was like, oh no. The subconscious mind knows what it needs to work on. She's like, if they're going to it in this life, she's like, oh, you're doing something right. They're going to exactly the source of what they need. And she's like, it's great. She's like, sometimes it's great when people don't go to a past life because then there's less for interpretation. It is just direct at what this issue is that they need to deal with. But most people in QHHT had historically gone through a past life first. When I did it the first time, I went through a past life. And then you go through a past life. And after that past life, we go through the death process of that life, which is not scary. Don't worry. Because there's hypnotic suggestions that let you know that it's not going to be scary. You're not going to be harmed. It won't be anything like that. And then what you do next is um, we go through the past life, through the death, and then you go to a time similar to Dr. Michael Newton's work where he brings you is between lives, life between life therapy. What Dolores Cannon's work does is bring you to your higher self. So it goes then directly to the subconscious mind, directly to the higher self, which actually the subconscious mind, over time, she realized what she was calling the subconscious mind is actually the superconscious mind because she said it was like an oversoul. In the beginning of her work, she thought it was the individual subconscious. Now she realizes that it is a collective subconscious of souls. So there's sometimes when you're under hypnosis, you might start saying the word we instead of saying I. A lot of times you don't say I when you go under hypnosis. Sometimes you do. And then sometimes, depending on it, but in QHHT, a lot of times you'll refer to yourself as like her, like I'll say, oh, yeah, she really thinks, but I'm talking about Jen. I'm talking about me, but it's talking about it from a third person because you're tapping into something else. But then sometimes as you go deeper, you might say we. And I noticed that that happened to me as well. I think that happened to me in the Sarah Brexman one. If I have to go back and watch, but I think I did say we a lot of times during that. And it kind of feels like yes, omniconscience. Yeah, consciousness. Exactly. And so basically, with all of that, that's like the process of how it works in QHHT. And then that's the reason why it's so different than other styles of hypnosis because you come with a list of about 20 questions. And those 20 questions we get to ask the subconscious mind, we get to ask the higher self. So basically, what we get to do is ask like the most important question that everybody asks, you have to, and if it's not on your list, we ask it anyway, is what is your purpose in this life? Because that's the number one question. And you know what's so crazy about this is that basically I really fought doing this. You know, when I learned QHHT in 2020, and I did it on people, like I told you guys in the past videos, I have so many videos about it. The first time I did it, the person went to a future life. They went to the fucking future. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." Then I had a friend that had a life as a fairy. I had a friend like, there was crazy stuff coming up. And then there was also a lot of normal stuff coming up too. A lot of normal stuff, like regular normal stuff. I had a friend who killed someone in a past life, like craziness. And all those things are fine. Like, no, none of those things are worth, you don't judge people for killing someone in a past life. It happens. We probably all did. Um, Maybe not the most recent one, but in past lives, I'm sure we've all killed people in past lives, I could assume. So everybody has to get their ego in check about that. But so with that, the right questions are so important. So with those questions, it's so important that we ask things like, what is your purpose? Or what is the purpose of your family dynamic? Why did you choose your parents? Why did you choose this life? Why did this medical issue happen? What was the purpose of this supernatural encounter at 7 years old? Why did this person have this memory of an alien abduction? Why did this person get this injury at this age? All of these things are important questions to ask, but really anything that comes to mind. So, Natasha, start writing your questions down if you don't have a list of questions that you want for QHHT. Um, so yeah, figure out what you might want to ask along those lines. And then I'm also going to be developing a list um, of the best questions to ask and things like that. And that'll be like a resource for everybody. I'll probably just have that available for everybody, whether you want to see me for the QHHT or if you want to see someone in person in your Jen. That's literally all my questions. Okay, good, done. What is QHHT? It is quantum healing hypnosis technique. It is the hypnosis style that was created by Dolores Cannon. And so basically, what it does is that style of hypnosis that it regresses you all the way to your higher self, all the way to the subconscious mind, which actually over time Dolores found out was more of a superconscious, an omniconsciousness. And we get to ask any questions that you want in that state. And from there, we get to dissect it. And part of the reason that we go through your whole life story in the beginning is not only because it's healing, and because you need to experience that. But at the same time, we also need to know things about your life because when stuff comes up, we have to just add some alien stuff too. Exactly. We have to know the right things to ask. So if someone had been talking about a troubled relationship with their mother, and then they didn't have questions about that, but they talked about that in their life story because not everybody is going to know all the right questions. And then, so maybe we're hearing something in their life story that came up a few times, and we would ask them before saying, like, oh, okay, do you want to add this question? Is it okay if we ask about this? Because it came up several times in your story. Would you like to also know about this? So that's one reason. The other reason is sometimes it comes up in the hypnosis. So you might say someone who has a troubled relationship with their mother, all of a sudden in a past life, some stuff starts coming up connected to that relationship. Now you know the right questions to ask. So this is part of the reason why we need to talk about the whole life story because then, and you guys know I already asked good questions. I remember the first time it was like the third time I had put someone under. My friend, when she got up, she said, wow, she was like, the guides were telling her, um, that my questions were so good that she was like, "You know what? They were really impressed at the questions that you were asking." I'm like, "Oh, wow." You said, "I'm not gonna lie, that sounds terrifying." But, well, that's the thing, is that it's not really for everybody. It's not for everybody, to have a methodology like that, you know? Um, yeah, terrifying, like extended DMT. Yeah, same thing like ayahuasca is terrifying, but, it's healing. And that's also the thing too, is that not everything is for everybody. You know, I would not do every single healing modality myself. I've really enjoyed doing the hypnosis as a subject and also as a practitioner. But, like I said, what I was saying earlier is that for a long time, I was kind of like not accepting this. Like, I was thinking, like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't feel like, right doing the hypnosis at first, and that was my own limiting beliefs because then, I already love it. I love the information. I already know too that the people that are going to come to me, there's going to be information that comes out just like Dolores's books, just like Sarah Brexman's books. And I've known when I first learned the hypnosis, I had this feeling of like, oh, I have to do this because there's still more information that didn't come out in Dolores's subjects, information that is coming out now, information that hasn't even come out yet. And that's what happened when I first decided to do the hypnosis, which was at the same time as I was reading the Nostradamus books. And I was having this crazy multi-dimensional timeline thing. When I put it on the TikTok, was 2 years after it happened. And but when I was going through that, I got the messages so clear that I needed to continue this work. I needed to continue getting information through this methodology and that I needed to share this method with the world. But as time went on, I for some reason didn't feel comfortable having like a spiritual business. And I was like, I didn't feel right doing that. Accidentally, the TikTok ended up happening and all of that. So then that ended up, I kind of did end up having to some degree a spiritual business, a spiritual influencer type of business. And then basically, um, the with that, I wasn't ready to kind of like do that. And now I feel like I finally have given myself permission to. And I feel like at first I was like, oh, I don't want to like disrespect Dolores's method by breaking the rule of doing it online, even though Dolores passed over 10 years ago now in 2014. So basically, it was a different internet then. Everything is done online now, and I don't know. To be honest, I feel that if Dolores was still around, she probably would have eventually started doing it digitally. And, so basically, I think that that's what would have happened, and no one respects Dolores's work more than I do. Nobody respects this method more than I do. I'm sorry. I know that there's people who love it as well. I don't mean to say that they don't, but, like, literally millions of people through TikTok, and not as an exaggeration, like, literally, I have had especially those Dolores series that I did, have crazy millions of views. Like, I literally have, like, a billion views on TikTok. And, like, I know that I exposed millions of people to QHHT and Dolores's work, and I'm like, "Why would I feel like I'm disrespecting her?" I'm literally this is the method that brought all of it to these people. Going on the internet and sharing it is how all of these people found Dolores's work, is how all of these people, not saying Dolores's work as a whole, but the people who found it through me, and that's a lot of people. So, like, the people who found Dolores's work through me and QHHT and their purpose and their information and all of this, and I'm like, I'm not disrespecting Dolores's work. So what I'm going to do is not call it QHHT, be very upfront about the process. I want to add some things that I think helps people get more out of the session by having better questions. And I want to create a little aftercare thing so people know how to a little checklist for after to make sure that they're listening to the recording, to make sure that they're journaling about that recording, to make sure that they're asking the right questions of themselves after they come home. Oh, Carmina, you literally made me a Dolores fan. So exactly, that's like what I'm saying is that like I was kind of feeling like, one, I was uncomfortable having a spiritual business, but then also the Conversations with God book helped me with that a lot. It talked about how there's a collective issue in humanity that we feel that things that are valuable are should be free. And and they say that this is why our teachers are scrambling for money to get by, but then sex workers are making $9 million in a year. You see these girls on YouTube who are retiring from OnlyFans as millionaires, and it's nothing wrong with it. Do whatever you want. But this is a fundamental thing that is wrong with humanity, is that we feel like if something is healing or virtuous or something, that it should be free. And with other people, you know, um, then they're gonna spend how much for like, people would spend, what, $500 an hour for an escort, but then say $500 an hour for a life healing hypnosis is too much, that's stealing from people because it's helping them. But then nobody has a problem with the other. I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying this is one of the principles that they talk about in Conversations with God, where they talk about how basically if we continue to see money as like the root of evil, and then we see like God and spirituality as good, then those two things are never going to come into harmony with each other. And, I've been broke my whole life. So, I have a lot of money wounds, and that was one of those money wounds, getting over it, of feeling like, is it right to charge people to help them? And, there's a balance with that. And I also, like, so as I was kind of deciding that it's time for me to kind of step up into the next level, which also Nick Zai helped me with. I had a conversation with Nick a couple days before the Illuminate conference that he said, um, that it's time. He said, it's time for me to step up into the next level of helping people, the being of greater service. And I'm still going to be here doing my lives. I'm still going to be doing my TikTok, my Instagram. I'm still going to do the Substack. But now, a couple days out of the month, I'm going to open up to, I'm thinking, 2 hypnosis sessions a month. I'm not looking to like be doing this and burning myself out either, because when you open that channel, like doing the hypnosis, it is intense. It is intense. When I had done the hypnosis on people, sometimes when they first start going under and like it really is working, sometimes my legs would start shaking because the energy, you can feel like an intense energy. So of it takes a lot of energy from also the practitioner. And it's about 8 hours. Like I said, a lot of the times, I can go on and ask a lot of questions. So they're going to be between 4 to 8 hours long. And I want to make sure that, I have the time and energy to be able to do that. So I'm not going to do any day after day back to back, because if someone needs 8 hours, then I need to make sure that the next day I have time to recharge. So, um, that's how I came to kind of this conclusion of like, you know what? I give great advice. I'm a great um, guide for people. I have so many tools and so many ways to help people. Will you do it in person too? Probably not. Unless you were local and I came to you. So if it was someone in LA, in Hollywood, and they wanted to do it at their place, I would might be open to that depending on the person. Um, but that would be pretty rare, because I think I'm going to Neil. So this would not be in person. So this is kind of what we've been talking about, is that did Dolores ever talk about how she felt during sessions? You know, only a little bit. There's a couple of times that Dolores talked about how she felt during sessions. One of the rare times was when she had a negative experience. And oh yeah, listen to Natasha. Don't forget to like the live. Um, so yeah, Dolores did talk about one time in the Nostradamus book, and that was when they viewed the Antichrist's mentor. And when they viewed the Antichrist's mentor, Dolores felt negative energy in the room when because what's happening is like simultaneous time. When you're doing these hypnosis, this is not just hypnosis. This is simultaneous time. This is why Nostradamus was speaking to people from the 1500s to the 1980s. You know, if you haven't watched my Apocalypse series by now, I mean, please go back and watch it. How did you get here? The Apocalypse series is rocking. And yeah, so the Antichrist thing. So that was the one time that she did feel something. But aside from that, she didn't really talk too much about the feel way that she felt doing the sessions. Do you build up an endurance after a while? But I frequently get headaches in sessions. Oh, are you a QHHT practitioner also? I think probably you would over time. Uh, and I also think it's how intense the energy is for you. Like the one that I felt super intense, that my legs were shaking specifically was my friend who's very connected to Arcturians. So when my friend who's connected to Arcturians, she said that these beings came through and were answering questions that I felt really, really intense energy. So it depends. I wonder if it also is connected to that spirit team. One thing that was really funny is one of my friends that I had put under, she I don't remember exactly how it came up, but she said, "Oh, they're here right now." And I was like, "They're here right now?" And she's like, "Yeah, well, they're always here. There's only here. Everything's here." And I'm like, "So these like beings are with us right now?" She's like, "Yeah, like they're literally here always. They didn't just come for this. You could just feel them more intensely right now." Oh, who is the Antichrist? Yeah. Um, but no, I never did end up sharing about it, and even more so with the situation going on in the Middle East right now, it is connected to that, and that is all in the book. Like, in the book, they'll talk about Israel and Palestine all in that book. Like, this is not new, obviously, and, it is connected to that issue, which is why when everybody was guessing the Antichrist, I kept saying that, um, yeah, guys, it's not about America. Everybody's like, it's Trump, it's Elon Musk, it's Obama. And I was like, I kept saying, like, you guys, it is about a global issue and it is not an American issue. But one thing I will say, which I don't think I did end up getting to say in that Apocalypse series, maybe I did, but that imam, so the Antichrist is a Middle Eastern Muslim figure, and his mentor, remember we talk about the evil mentor in the series? His evil mentor was an imam, basically like a Muslim priest. I called him the evil priest in the series because it was just a little bit easier to, and I said it could, he calls it imam, but we're just going to call it like the dark priest or evil priest. And I just did that for the series. But they say it's an imam. And they say that this man who has been coaching the Antichrist since he was a child is lost his family, that he's Palestinian and that he lost his family in the original um takeover after World War II. So that is a very big component in this situation. Imam, like I am, yeah, see, Neil said it. IMAAM, Imam. So, yeah, it's like his uncle, and it might not be an actual blood uncle. It could be, just a mentor, a spiritual mentor. Um, but that is an element of this. it is very intertwined with that Israel-Palestine situation. So when that started to, pop off, I was like, "Oh, dear. It's fucking happening." Okay, so, would you be able to do a video revisiting the whole Antichrist stuff now after you have the ayahuasca information? Um, I don't know. I don't know if I will. I am considering now that I have this new setup, I'm considering kind of going back over my series and doing them, like, broken up more in smaller parts and giving extra information. Oh, they just it's uncle is just cultural for someone who is older. Oh, okay. Um, so, yeah, I don't know if I will get back into it. If I did, it would be on Substack because I don't wanna get killed in the comments because honestly, people are not able to have any type of conversation. And, what I'm talking about is actually, um, what is the right word? I mean, it's like what I'm talking about is trivial to the real situation, like, oh, okay, talking about this hypothetical antichrist situation when people are dying and many people have died and people have died on both sides. And, so that's another thing too is, I'm not trying to, I mean, obviously, you guys know it would go more viral than the original. If I went and said the Antichrist and I went through the book and said all the Israel Palestine stuff from the book and pointed it out to what's happening in the world right now, oh, it would be crazy, crazy, crazy viral. More viral than the first birth chart. But it's like, who cares? It's not even worth it. Like, you know, if it's not the right thing to do, who wants to benefit off of the Israel Palestine situation? The Antichrist does seem pretty serious though. Yeah, but considering I'm just gonna say one thing about it. If you remember what they said about the Antichrist in the Bible too, not just in Dolores's stuff, in the Bible as well, is that he would be the great peacekeeper, the peacemaker, the prince of peace, actually. And what they said, um, go viral, then go missing. um, yeah, so with that, just remember that the way that the prophecy goes is the person who steps in as the peacemaker is actually a person who is going to get drunk on that power, and that they are going to initially be seen as the great peacekeeper of the Middle East. So there is someone who has the ability to do that. A lot of people will say, like, oh, is the Antichrist Netanyahu? Um, it says the Antichrist is a lovable person that only very few people think is the Antichrist. Like, people pick the most hated people. I'm like, that is not the prophecy. Okay. And again, choosing the higher timeline. Exactly, Whitney. It's like we might not even be on that full timeline. It might be playing out in a different way. The Israel-Palestine situation might be playing out in a different way than the way it was originally playing out in um when it was originally playing out in the original channeled hypnosis information. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here. We went longer today, went an hour and a half. I probably didn't need to spend the whole first half. Oh. Oh my gosh, how is it? Oh. Well, my camera said we are done. Let me try one more thing here. Okay, I had to switch to my other camera. Okay. Well, everybody, there we go. Uh the camera said we're done. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your support. How can we sign up for the sessions? So right now, the one-on-one is open for applications. So if you go to the Beacons AI/JK underscore ultra, it will have that little one-on-one. And if you go to the link in my description below, you'll find the Beacons link. It just doesn't say the hypnosis or anything on it yet. It will. So From there, we're going to you could do one-on-ones if you guys are interested in doing the coaching. Like I said, it's, um, 4 one-hour sessions once a week. So what we'll do is either you do 1-month package or 3-month package, and we'll meet once a week. We'll work on those topics or really whatever you need advice on, and guidance on. It could be personal stuff. A lot of people have asked personal things. I've done kind of some versions of this, and, a lot of times people have questions kind of about balancing their regular life, their home life with their spiritual practices and their ascension path and all of that. So, any of those things could be talked about. And then we'll do a 15-minute consultation after you send in an application. We'll do 15 minutes, see if it's a right match for us, kind of what you want to work on, what the plan would be, and then we'll decide to go forward. As far as the hypnosis, it'll probably be next week that I'm going to have that option available. But like I said, I'm only gonna do 2 sessions a month. Yeah, so the one-on-one sessions are gonna be like guidance and coaching, talking. We're gonna come up with plans, go over your goals. Oh, hi, Natalie. You made it to your first live. So unfortunately, we are ending in a couple seconds, but I love you for being here. Um, so And we were just doing a little test live today, but if you wanna go back and listen, we talked about some fun stuff. After now that I know my mic works and my new setup works, that, even though, my camera just crapped out. But, yeah. So the one-on-ones are not gonna be hypnosis, although we might have a couple of little shorter things, not Dolores hypnosis, but I know the other types of hypnosis. Oops, I muted it, like Marissa Peer's method. So that could be meditation, hypnosis could potentially be in the one-on-ones, but really the one-on-ones is about like, let's look at your goals. Let's break up the different areas of your life. There's 12 areas of your life. What are your visions for these areas? What are the most important areas? So you might be very happy in your family life, but not in your career life. Okay, so let's talk about what elements are missing there? What do we need to focus on? What is some daily tasks that we can do to shift your timeline? So that's going to be one-on-one coaching, but not really coaching because it's not like regular life coaching. It's going to be overall guidance because it's a blend of kind of whatever you need. And then next week I'll probably have a link for the hypnosis sessions, but like I said, I'm only going to be doing maybe 2 a month. So they're probably going to be booked pretty quick. And that's just because, it takes a lot of time and I don't want to be not able to give enough energy to each person if they need it. If it's 8 hours, I need to be able to give those 8 hours if that person needs that time. So, there we go. Um, all shifting timeline guidance. Yes. Because it is our decisions and our tasks every day that shift the timeline. It does. So what we do is we'll create it in the quantum. So that's the thing is it's kind of coaching, but it's going to be using a lot of these principles like um some of the manifestation techniques, some of the personal development techniques, some of the Marissa Peer techniques, some of the Silva method. So it's going to be like a bunch of kind of like a curation of all of my things. Will the hypnosis be online as well? Yes. So that was what I talked about before, Neil, was that the original intention with QHHT was for it to not be done online, but over contemplation for the last 4 years, um, and 2 years that people have been actively asking me to do this, and I've been saying no, I'm finally ready to do it, and I feel that it is the right thing to do it online, and because this is how I've connected with all of these people. For me, this is right to do it online. And that's what I'm going to be open about. And that's why I'm not going to call it QHHT, even though we're going to do exactly QHHT method and style and script and technique and everything. But, and like I said, I'm also the reason the hypnosis is not available yet is because I'm still developing a little I want something for before and after the session that I want to add. So since I'm not allowed to call it QHHT, then I'm going to go that extra step and really add something that's not in QHHT, which is how to get the most out of your recording later and how to get the most out of your questions in the beginning. So working that all out and you know, uh, I was literally just thinking out loud with you guys and just letting you guys know everything that happened this week. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I went to Piper CJ's book signing. I have 2 copies now because I wanted to support her. So she sent me a copy, but then I wanted to buy a copy and I really wanted the one with the teal edges. So, how sweet, how cute to JK Ultra from Piper CJ. She's so sweet and so we looked like twins in person. It was so fun. Um, and I'm just so proud of her that like literally and you guys can see this, like, the same thing with the Illuminate conference, I brought together, like, of those 8 people, 6 of them are, like, mainly TikTok, got famous from TikTok or, got their notoriety from TikTok, and, I love supporting people like that, so Oh, yeah, I love Piper. Oh, thank you, Emma. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, look what I can do now. Thank you, Emma, for the super chat. I can put it on the screen now. Um, so yeah, The Deer and the Dragon is Piper's newest series that is out now. She has 4 books in the last series. The The Night and Its Moon series has 4 parts, and then there's going to be a spin-off series of all of the villains. And then she has this new series called No Other Gods, and it's about demon lore. And then she has another series coming out, which is for ages 8 and up, all ages. I am, like, blown away by Piper's ability to crank out these books because as you guys know, my book is coming out next year, and it took me 10 years to write this book, and I still have to rewrite it, and I haven't had time to rewrite anything, so I need to tap into this wisdom that is needed for this final rewrite of my book that has been in the making since 2013. 2013, I started this book. So here we go. Check out Piper CJ's book in the meantime. If you get like cool pre-order stuff, you can get the teal edges, but I think it's only for pre-orders and things like that. It just launched today. Oh, so excited for my book. Oh, thank you. And that's exactly everything takes the amount of time that it needs. Like my book did need to take 10 years and Piper wrote 10 books in 1 year. And you know what? Like that's exactly the way that everyone's path is meant to unfold. And she does not sleep. I'm sure she doesn't. And she really knows how to like my problem too is that I like to be comfortable. I like to sleep. I like to chill. I'm generally pretty comfortable. That's the problem. Oh, Natalie, thank you. You'll be the first in line for my book. Thank you. Ooh, Neil, so excited for your book. I love that I can put the comments up now. I just have to figure out next week how to do it for Instagram too, because it says my Instagram is connected and it's saying that I am live, but I am not. Oh, Anita. Thank you for the super chat. It's a true testament to the future of creative expression and endeavors that it's no longer in the hands of the status quo and the disingenuous gatekeepers. Oh my God, Anita, you are always coming with the knowledge bombs, drop in the knowledge because you're so right. That is like the number one thing, which is also why I'm like, I really like supporting these people who started on TikTok and are growing into speakers, writers, journalists, investigators, motivational speakers, coaches, all these different things, because it really is. This is what I believe in is that like these gatekeepers. Oh, and this is such a good place to end on. So, when I first did the hypnosis, the QHHT myself in 2021 with Jerome DeWitt, he okay, one of the things that came up, I don't remember what the question was, but it was about my future. And at that time, I had never posted online. I had no idea how this book was going to get published. I had been still working on it then. I was working in a restaurant. My boyfriend at the time had bought the session for me. because I would have not spent that type of money myself, especially not at the time. Now I am pushing myself to do those things more because I do regret them when I don't. Like, if you guys watch my old videos, you know that I was in the process of booking a session with Dr. Michael Newton before I knew who he was. It just is who came up when I looked up a past life regression. He was the one who came up in 2013, and I was like, and because I didn't have the money then, but then I didn't do it, and then I freaking regretted it years later when I went through my old, like, box of stuff. I saw my, like, paperwork that I was filling out for that session, and it was with Dr. Michael Newton, and I was like, "Damn." Like, yeah, that was expensive, but at the same time, I wish I woulda done it. So, now I'm making a better effort to put those things forward in my life, to, like, spend money on those things that I might not normally want to. But one of those things that came up in that hypnosis session, it was about my future and about what I was gonna do, and it didn't tell me all this. I had no idea. And it was like, "Don't." it said "She keeps," meaning me, I'm she. "She keeps worrying about the gatekeepers not letting her in, but where she's going, she's not gonna have to worry about gatekeepers. The gatekeepers cannot stop her." And I would think like, "Damn, how." Yep, that price, I would do it, no questions asked today. If it was today, it would be a lot more too, because his price, was expensive for then, but the whole industry of it has become more expensive. But that is exactly like that the gatekeepers were not going to be an issue anymore. So, and I thought like, how? How could I do it without the gatekeepers? Because the gatekeepers don't like me. Let me tell you, like these like Hollywood gatekeeper people, they can't stand me. Same thing like with that Netflix shit. Like I posted about how Netflix used my image and likeness without my permission. Like these gatekeepers, they want to benefit, but they don't want to pay me flat out what I deserve. Imaginary Susan says, please send me positive vibes to finish all the books I've been writing for children. Thank you for showing up on my YouTube." Oh, I love that you're writing books for children. And what I have to say is everything happens in the right timing. So if you are getting distracted or taking longer, do not judge yourself. I'm telling you right now, don't judge yourself because everything happens in divine timing. Now I know 100% why this book needed to take over 10 years. By the time it's published, it'll be like almost 12 years, right? So I know why this book had to take this long, and it's because I was growing and changing as well. And where I started the book was who I needed to be to start that book. And now finishing the book, which I still have to embark on, um, is I needed to be who I am now for that final rewrite, for that final tie-in. So I'm telling you, do not judge yourself. The Moon Book, for example, which is not my book that I'm talking about. This is, my workbook. I came up with the Moon Book and the Tarot book. I came up with both of these the same day, and there was another one that I came up with before it that was supposed to come up with before. In 2021, I came up with this idea. I did the first draft of the Moon Book. I did the first draft of the Tarot book, and I did the first draft of the Soul Journal, which is the third one, which was supposed to be the first one. It did This one ended up coming out the end of 2022. This one came out the end of 2023. They were almost done for 2 years. Now I know why it needed to, because if I would have published the Moon Book the day that I wanted to and thought I was ready and done, um, who would have bought it? Maybe some people, but at the right time was when the final edit happened, and at the right time is when it came out. So we just need to trust in that process. And this goes for everybody with any type of creative endeavor, any type of business endeavor, anything that you are working on. Just know that it's happening in divine timing, because I beat myself up for 10 years every day black cloud over my life about not finishing this book, about feeling like a loser. Oh my God, 10 years to write a book. At the point that it was 5 years, there was a guy that used to come into my job with his laptop at the restaurant, and he used to write a book, a fantasy book that's like crazy, millions of pages. And he would say he had been working on it for 10 years. And everybody at the bar would kind of like say, "Oh, he's working on a book for 10 years. What a loser." I'd be like, "Hey, I've been working on my book for 5 years. Don't make fun of him. You can make fun of him for other things because there is other things to make fun of, but don't make fun of the fact that the book took 10 years." Because here I am now with the 10 years. Mm, that's too divine on the nose that it happened with the expression of gatekeepers, and that was told to you. Prime Creator really makes me blush constantly. Truly, truly. Oh, okay. Well, we're way over time now. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Oh, Neil, last question before I go. Are you going to put out the soul journal? Yes, I am. Um, Probably gonna work on it over the next couple months because I reinvented from the original idea. The original idea, it's still that, but I have more knowledge now and more resources to be able to do a little bit more. So it's basically inspired by Journey of Souls and Dolores's work, and it's basically kind of like a soul purpose exercise of kind of like, what if you were writing the movie of your life? So kind of combining my movie writing background with the soul stuff and kind of like it's a creative exercise using your life as the inspiration so that you can kind of ask different questions about who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, what were the lessons, what was this part of the life. So very like with the hero's journey as well, but about your soul life because like Dolores said, all these people say, that life is basically a play. Life is basically a movie. Life is basically a game. So with those things, some like cool little fun ways to do it. So some ways to kind of find your lessons and your purpose could be through hypnosis, where you just flat out ask your higher self the question, but that's not available for everybody. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody's interested in doing that. So then this could be like a fun little workbook for you to kind of work through that piece by piece and be able to understand the lessons and the themes of your life through journaling. So, but that's like literally that all 3 of them were supposed to come out in the beginning of 2021 when I originally got the ideas, and I had never posted on TikTok or anything at that time. So, just remember that everything is happening at divine timing, and our ego might want to push it done quicker, but it will be done at the perfect time. Ah, yes. Whitney, we were talking this morning about whose story you are a villain in. Aw. Aw, thanks, Susan. Aw, thank you. Aw, journaling with a JK Ultra twist. Oh my god, you guys are the best. Okay, I appreciate you so much. I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate you guys. You make this all amazing. Thank you to everybody who also went to the Illuminate event. You guys like made it incredible. Um, it was such a great weekend, and now I feel I'm decompressing and I'm ready to start embarking on some new things. Oh, and one little last thing. I am going to be maybe starting a podcast now that I have this nice mic. Like this isn't the Joe Rogan one, it's below the Joe Rogan one, but we're getting there, okay? So now that I have this nice mic, I think I wanna start doing a video podcast. So, I have a very long list of people that I wanna interview, and that's something that I'm gonna start developing over the next couple months. So, I'm excited, and if you guys want, you can let me know in the coming months who you want me to interview. And specifically, if there's some people that you have access to that you would like me to interview. Like there was someone I have to follow up with who wanted me to interview Marina Jacoby. And I love Marina Jacoby. I would love to interview her. And they were ready to set it up, but I just didn't have all the means to get my interviews and stuff done. So anything like that too. So if you have anyone that, in the space, oh, Mitch Horowitz. Yeah, I just did a show with Mitch Horowitz, actually. I'm not even allowed to talk about it yet until it comes out, but It's coming out in, like, a month. Um, and I mean, I only got to talk to him on the show for a couple of minutes. Yeah, Mitch Horowitz. I, so that'll be fun. He was really nice. Linda Moulton Howe. Of course, we must. You got the M7, that's what this is. This is the M7 Plus. So, the plus is just that it has a new plug. So the new plug goes directly into the new Mac. So thankfully, I don't need an adapter for it. Yeah, I just did a little show with Mitch Horowitz, but I can't talk about it until it comes out. I think it's supposed to come out next month, and we'll see how it happens. We'll see how they portrayed me because, there's a chance I might be portrayed well or I might not be portrayed well. So we'll see. Dr. Chris Ryan, I don't know who that is, but I'm interested. And is Darius on your list? Yes, Darius J. Wright is on my list. Oh, do you know her? Diana Walsh? Um, I don't know her, but I could probably maybe get someone to put her in contact with me. Well, those are great suggestions. Okay, you guys, I love you. I thank you. And you have a great one. I will see you next Tuesday.